the fact that you've had it and recovered from it does not guarantee lifetime immunity with this, from what we've seen.
Tonight, caution from medical experts after the first American is confirmed to have caught COVID-19 twice. Welcome back to this special edition of the Eyewitness News at 5:30. I'm Karen Swenson.
And I'm Sharice Gibson. While still rare, the possibility of reinfection brings up the concern that COVID immunity is time limited and the vaccine may be as well. Paul Murphy reports.
President Donald Trump boasted about immunity at his first rally since his COVID-19 diagnosis.
Now they say I'm immune. I feel so powerful. I'll walk into that audience. I'll walk in there. I'll kiss everyone in that audience.
Experts say it's unclear what degree of immunity you get from contracting the virus. Just this week, the Lancet Infectious Disease Journal published a report about a 25-year-old Nevada man found to have been infected twice with COVID-19. He tested positive in April after showing mild symptoms, then got sick again in late May with a more serious bout. Dr. Naji Majri, an associate professor of medicine at LSU Medical School, says the risk of reinfection brings up a couple of concerns.
Could this coronavirus have multiple strains and possibly mutated to the point now where you could be immune to one virus, but then susceptible to a different strain? The other point of concern there with that is how it affects the vaccines.
The big pharmaceutical companies are now in the late stages of clinical trials for COVID-19 vaccines. Tulane University virologist Dr. Robert Gary says the virus is certainly mutating.
Not too surprised. I think you'll find most scientists, most people that study coronaviruses know that immunity can be somewhat short-lived. That means that any vaccine that we get is probably going to be a once a year or once every other year thing.
The Nevada patient is the first confirmed case of coronavirus reinfection in the U.S. At least 4 other cases have been found worldwide.
We're now 6 months into this pandemic. So, there will be people that, will have been infected early on that, have seen their immunity wane, and they might be susceptible to a second infection.
Doctors say even people who have already been sick with COVID-19 need to protect themselves from the virus.
That there still exists the possibility of reinfection, that they should follow social distancing, wearing of masks, avoidance of large gatherings, just like anyone else.
And according to the Nevada case, you could get it worse the second time you get the virus. Paul Murphy, Eyewitness News.
Say that the immunity you get from a vaccine will likely protect you from at least the most severe consequences of the COVID-19 infection.